Hey DOT community, this is Alon coming at you with an update on the current Throne Wars that is going on right now in Legend League. Now, I do want to make a point that I'm calling this Beta Throne Wars 3.0 because, unfortunately, to say, and I will go and show it to you very shortly, but it's not as bad as the thing last year. In November, December when we had our first Throne Wars, where all the lands were depleted within the first few hours and completely tanked, and they couldn't even go on. Um, and it wasn't as bad as when we went through the entire Throne Wars and didn't get rid of all of our lands because it was impossible to contend them. So this time around, after day one, this is the beginning of day two, pretty much. It hasn't changed that much in the last few hours since I saw the timer change over. There's one entire day left, and the amount of lands that are available out there in the actual game right now are very few and far between. Now, the League of Gods is winning right now, and that is to be expected. But the rest of the alliances out there, Dark Force and the VPJP alliance, have been holding at least one throne, where League of Gods had two and at one point three thrones. Actually, I think the VPJP crew switched at one point. The rest of everyone else has just been vying for pretty much second, third, and fourth positions on a lot of the thrones, including NTG War. That's pretty much everybody here from, I'd say, about 14 up, maybe even 15 up, sorry, unruled. But they've all been vying for second and third places on a lot of the thrones, and that's the reason why they're in the positions that they are. So we did get a good jump on the throne yesterday, the War Throne, but it was one of the only thrones that League of Gods and didn't have a lot of interest in, and neither did the other two, Dark Force and VPJP, because they had their own thrones as well. So there was a lot of contention on the War Throne. It was probably the throne that was fought over the most, I think, on our server. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, but congratulations to all the NTG players that participated, of course. I don't think all of these numbers are legit because some of these numbers on lands sent were really high and lands rated also really high and really low in comparison. But I do know a lot of players didn't get to, if you weren't on right away, were not able to contend a lot of lands in comparison to doing a lot of attacks. So there was definitely a lot of players that came later in the day yesterday that just had a lot of attacks and had a very hard time contending. Now, the one thing I do want to show right away, right now, is how easy it is to contend a land on day two, because these thrones are not filled. I hit contend, I go straight over here. Notice my lands come right up right away. They're not doing the up-down thing like yesterday whatsoever. I actually can send, as you can see, two lands. It's because, and I can show it to you real quick. I won't even do it yet. But you look at NTG War, we're empty. Almost everybody. I mean, there are a few players. Don't get me wrong. There are a few players that may have purchased some lands or have just been holding on and did not really participate much at all yesterday. But if I go around the whole rest, yes, there's definitely still people attacking and trying to get as far as they can in the milestones. But when it comes down to being contending lands today, there is barely any kind of contention on lands. Sending them and getting the 50. Everyone is trying to get as many crowns as they can by straight raiding. Even some of the, and here you can even see, yeah, there's still people participating. Don't get me wrong, but it's way less than yesterday. So I do feel that, unfortunately, to say there is not a lot of participation here on the second day, and I feel like a lot of people feel that there should there still needs to be a lot of work done on how the Throne Wars plays out over even a 2 day period. Now, I will be honest, yesterday when I saw that Throne Wars was only 2 days, I thought, great. I thought maybe anything over that would be overkill and would drag out too long. After a day, and this is the reason why I say I feel like it's beta 3.0 here, is even after a day, it feels like it's already dragging out too long. And even League of Gods, at this point, if anything, they're just buying a little bit of lands or just grabbing their neutrals. Yesterday was the day to buy lands to get your big advantage. Even if just you could just even see that from the number one position team. So, all they're doing now is just contending a few lands on two thrones, but they don't even need to fight for a third throne anymore. It's just not necessary. And no one else can really throw any. No one else really has any lands to contend to even put up a fight. Because it's all about lands, and pretty much at this point, the reason why no one seems to be really doing much on day two, hold on, is because this is the only option besides your neutral lands and maybe pulling a couple refreshes on your neutrals. So my one suggestion, I should say it's like a small trail of suggestions of how to fix this issue and have at least a 2-day event where it doesn't feel like everyone dumped a majority of their lands within the first 24 hours and then there's nothing else really to do except attack, and there's just not enough lands to really keep that enough players occupied compared to the first day. So I would say we need to reduce the amount of lands on each throne because it needs to be more about attacking on the first day and contending instead of just contending. Because I feel like more contending happened yesterday than attacking, and because of that, there wasn't enough lands to continue through. And with that, we should, if you take at least half the lands off of each throne, so if there was 400, make it 200. If there was 500, make it 250. And the only reason for that is the next portion of my suggestion would be, because a lot of people hated having to sit in the contend screen forever. And of course, day two, there's no problems or issues whatsoever, but it doesn't matter now. So yesterday, it was just a lot of frustration of just sitting there, and you could fix that by in your castle view, and I'll show you. Not castle view. At your garrison, what you would do is there would be another button somewhere, I would say along the bottom here, so like somewhere down here, that allows you to select lands to be sent to the throne, which means they're marked ahead of time, or if you don't do that, it's just going to take your highest land. If you have no lands, then nothing will happen. But what will happen is when you attack somebody and you destroy that land, your land that is either queued up that you've selected, or it'll just take your highest land that you have, it'll put that land on the throne you took that land from. There will be no time for you to sit there and say, oh, what, I can't get this land on. All that frustration will go away, and you'll be able to get back to attacking. Because it should be about attacking and not sitting around waiting to contend a land, and that's like half the time that you spend on day one. It just wasn't fun. And now day two, now that there's no lands whatsoever, I mean, I'd be okay if of course, because I went real hard yesterday. I didn't really have any lands for half the day because I contended so early. But there was still plenty of other players that could still participate, so I was still helping my team out by attacking. Now today, there's nobody really, I mean, there's just people contending just little its and bits, and that's it, So I just don't seem to find the second day as as exciting or fun, or nobody seems to be really gung-ho about even participating today. So it's just maintain until this is over, and it's kind of dragging out, unfortunately. And I don't want to keep going because I don't want to drag out this video. But here we go. We'll just contend these two lands real quick, show you how easy it is, and I hope everybody has either agrees, disagrees with my suggestions. Put some of your own suggestions in the bottom. I know some people would just say just scrap the whole idea, but at this point, I still think that they could still make this better and a good experience for everybody, and also maybe make lands purchasable by uh, I don't know, not just money, but I know they're trying to keep the hackers out from being able to purchase lands, but there's still the rumor of infinite land glitches out there, so that also has definitely deterred a lot of people from playing. So I I I tried to enjoy it the best I can, and I may still come back with another video at how everything turned out at the very end. But day two just seems pretty pretty boring. All right, DOT community. Let me know what you think. And I will talk to you all again very soon.